Hi, friends. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Katie, and welcome to Okay, But Did You Know? A podcast where we talk about the TV and media that we love with a friend who's never seen it before.
Today we're recapping and chatting about Once Upon a Time, episode 217, Welcome to Storybrooke. This episode aired on March 17th, 2013. It was written by Andrew Chambliss and Ian Goldberg, and was directed by David M. Barrett. Now, before we get into our chatting, here is a synopsis for the episode. Storybrooke, Maine, 1983. Regina has succeeded in casting her curse. She's gotten revenge, and she's won, or so she thought. She quickly learns that having the entire town fear her because they have to isn't giving her the happiness she desires. But someone else might be able to. Kurt and Owen were camping in the woods within the town line as the curse was cast and are swept up in it. They wait in town while their car is being repaired and catch the eye of the mayor. After unsuccessfully convincing them to stay in town, Regina tries to use her magic on Graham to keep them with her. And while they still have Kurt, Owen gets away safely. And in Storybrooke today, Snow is distraught after Cora's death, and Regina more so. She rifles through her mother's things for the curse of the empty-hearted, which will make Henry think that he loves her, at the price of Snow White's heart. While trying to protect him from Regina, Henry gets the idea that getting rid of magic will stop their problems, and sneaks away looking for a way to destroy it. When Regina, Emma, Charming, and Neil find him about to blow up the well with dynamite, Regina shows Henry that she has the same faith in him that he does in her, and destroys the curse. Following this, Snow shows up on Regina's doorstep, asking her to kill her. When Regina tears out her heart, she sees that a small dark spot is growing. She doesn't need to kill Snow. She's already ruining her own life. Now Regina can have the love of her son, and her vengeance.
I know we usually start at the beginning, but that ending, man.
It's a good ending. That scene on the end, we'll jump around, but that scene on the end of the episode where she shows up on her doorstep, asking Regina to kill her is just like, it hurts to watch because you see the pain on her face, and Regina, like, she goes through so many emotions because she's like, Henry will never forgive me, but the problem is I never learn from my mistakes, which is kind of the whole point of the episode. Like,
yeah,
this one has commentary, so we'll get into those notes later. But something the writers say the entire time is Regina doesn't learn from her mistakes. She doesn't learn anything. She gets in her own way constantly. But, she kind of learns a little bit of, I wrote down what she said at the very end when Snow is begging her again to kill her. And she goes, "And put you out of your misery? I don't need to destroy you. You're doing it to yourself. And along the way, you'll bring down that perfect little family you fought so hard to reunite. And then Henry will be mine. You see? I can have everything. Thanks to you. Now get off my porch."
I loved every moment of that. I was like, I should not be rooting for Regina, yet here we are.
I mean, you kind of. I mean, I do, but
I do.
That's because I have problems.
I mean, well, I guess we both have problems because I was very much like, Regina got what she wanted, and I'm happy for her. Like, what is wrong with me?
She's getting everything, but apparently the fact that Snow in the current timeline is silent the entire episode until the very end. Like, she doesn't say a word.
Oh.
The first thing Snow White in our current timeline says is when she says to Mr. Gold, "How do you live with yourself?" That was intentional, that she does not speak the entire time.
Oh, wow.
She's just there in the background being stressy-depressy, which is what I kept saying in my notes.
Stressy-depressy.
Snow is being stressy-depressy the whole time.
But yeah, I love the random Graham is here.
Yes, like, Jamie Dornan. Jamie Dornan.
I love a flirty Regina as well. Like, I know that, like, whole relationship was really problematic, but at the same time, flirty Regina.
Yeah, very flirty. Well, when he came over to her and says, "Do you want me to come over later?" My brain just went to the Barbie movie. And why? Because her boyfriend, girlfriend.
Oh my God.
Graham is Ken.
I need that t-shirt. Like, but it's Regina and Graham.
Exactly.
I need that to happen. Who can make this for me? I will wear that as a badge of honor. I have no shame. He is right though. Like, if she kills Snow, they will never let her near Henry again. So that was very accurate. Of like, no, you're screwed if you do this. You will completely lose one of the many things that you want.
Oh yeah.
I got so bugged during the scene where they're talking to Henry about everything. I'm like, I know this is serious, but I could never leave my cereal to get soggy like that.
Oh no.
Like, the whole moment, I'm like, those are Fruit Loops. Why aren't you eating? Don't leave it.
Emma does love her Fruit Loops, to be fair. That is also mildly unrealistic that Emma would not keep eating while doing this.
I mean, she wouldn't, but I'm like, not soggy cereal.
She does. She's always eating Fruit Loops. I've noticed that more and more this time. It's always Fruit Loops.
It's always Fruit Loops. The thank you, your mayorness.
Kurt, he tried.
He tried.
Yes, thank you, your mayorness. Although that was it. Right before that was Regina. You're in my seat. Okay, Sheldon Cooper.
Right? That was very, very much Sheldon Cooper. I like the whole Groundhog Day situation. I didn't realize it was that much like that from the beginning.
It's a Groundhog's Day situation, kind of. Like, the thing with it is they don't feel as if they were living the same day over and over again. It's that things are, I mean, they're happening very cyclically. They're happening in a lot of the same, because time's not moving forward. So things are, like, they're all doing roughly the same thing, but obviously things can change. Because, like, at the very beginning, in the first morning, Graham isn't in her bed, but the next couple days he is. As we see Marco continually fixing that sign, he's using different tools. He's using different tools every time, and he acknowledges that the sign keeps falling down.
And it's that whatever he used last time isn't working.
Exactly. Mary Margaret wasn't originally a volunteer at the hospital. She only becomes one because Regina specifically brings her to the hospital to see John Doe, which then alters Snow's path, which then changes Regina's morning, and that Snow walks into her every morning.
Regina did that to herself then.
That was a bit of that was an oops on her part. Of she changed Mary Margaret's morning routine because that first day of the curse she doesn't run into her, but then we see the next couple of times she does. That's because her routine's changed, and now she's a volunteer at the hospital.
And she starts, and Regina very obviously is like getting bored.
Yeah, and it's sad that I think originally they said it was going to take about a week for that. They had more days of that planned into the script, but it was getting too long and repetitive, so they cut it down to like. After 3 days, the shininess of all of this is kind of, wearing off.
I love I'm not happy. Dr. Hopper's office is down the street. And this is very much where you could see that, no, like, Gold was also under the curse, because he very much was like, what the hell are you talking about, Mayor? Like, I have no idea. He is under the curse.
He is. He's not being facetious. He is under the curse.
Your mother is a complicated woman. You don't say, like, talking about Regina. I'm like, really?
It's putting it lightly.
Putting it very lightly. I did enjoy this episode with the aspect of really starting to kind of get more of an understanding of why she ends up adopting Henry.
Yeah.
But, like, the whole storyline with this kid, I'm just like, Regina, you can't just take a kid that you like. That's not how that works.
No, it's not.
Like, he has a father. He doesn't want to stay. Let go.
Yeah, the writers called this Proto Henry. They kind of that's
Proto Henry.
They'd had this idea that Henry wasn't the first child she tried to fill the
gap.
Hole in her heart.
Yeah,
the gap. So like they were kind of killing a couple of birds with one stone with this entire episode. But it also kind of makes their transitions a little easier, because this was something I'll kind of weave the commentary in as best I can. Otherwise, the episode will be 5 hours long. I say that every time there's a commentary episode, but to be fair, those always end up being long.
Yeah. We have more information.
We've got more stuff. So because Henry is kind of the present day amalgamation for Owen, it makes their transitions a little easier, because usually with the other episodes, they'll try and, like, if they're going to transition between the flashback and the Storybrooke, they can go from, Snow White to Mary Margaret. They can go from Charming to David, stuff like that, to kind of show that, like, to transition easier throughout the episode. But that gave them a little bit of an easier way to transition this time, because between, like, Kurt and Owen, there isn't really an amalgamation in Storybrooke except for Henry. If you're going to quick cut between Regina and Owen to Regina and Henry and stuff like that, it makes it a little easier to work out that way. And now that I listen to that, now, like, anytime I watch anything, if there's a sharp transition between any scene, I'm paying attention to what is happening at the end and beginning. I'm like, okay, why are we transitioning here? What's happening?
I like that. The idea to leave Henry with Neil, he's been dead 3 days.
Yeah, 3 days. So everything between Manhattan and this episode has been 3 days.
But, like, I'm sorry. He just found out he's a dad. No one trusts Neil.
No. And to be fair, he proves that we shouldn't. Because what happened is when he leaves, Emma goes, where's his backpack? I don't know. He took it with him. To the bathroom? Did you really fall for that? He's your son.
Exactly. But yet saying that, but then also being completely fine with, we're going to leave you with Neil because you're, no. Dumb choice.
It gets him out of Storybrooke, but that's the only
But puts him in danger in a whole nother way.
Yeah, to be fair, I would say all the time is they all spend so much of this season arguing that Regina is an unfit mother, yet under their security, he got a hold of dynamite.
Exactly. And yes,
Like-
I completely understand the 10-year-old being like, dynamite's a good choice.
Yeah.
I had the oh shit moment when Kurt did walk in on Regina talking into Graham's heart, and I'm just like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Getting found out so quickly, though, after you've cast this curse.
Yeah.
So quickly. Took a week. Like, come on.
Less than a week.
Less than a week, yeah. Like, you just cast this curse and you've already been figured out.
Mm-hmm.
Which is then, of course, why they put the whole, like, barrier so no one can, yeah.
That's the thing is we can, now we get a chance, we get a way of seeing what the barrier does for Storybrooke. Basically, if it keeps outsiders out of Storybrooke, they can't see anything. Like, it doesn't exist on any maps. The sign isn't even there. It's just the only marker there of that barrier is that boulder that that production just put in the road.
Yeah. I love when he does run into the one guy who ends up being Owen.
Yeah.
He runs into Henry and Henry goes, Boy Scout, try and get a merit badge. Like, fast thinking. That's some quick thinking. I'm proud of this kid.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, an adult wrote it, but still.
Yeah. But yeah, him and Greg was my headcanon with that is that Greg was looking for his father's grave. That's why he was out there. That's my thought.
Oh, that's dark.
Little bit.
Just a little bit. But the dynamite I thought was hilarious. And then we go in, of course, to like Regina being like, you can stay here with me. No, Regina.
Put the child back.
I did write in all caps though. Put the child back. Fuck. That whole scene, I'm like, listen to the kids, you guys. And then just like Regina, I wrote in all caps. Regina loves her son. Fuck yeah. I was just so happy in that moment.
She does. She does love him.
I just feel like I need validation. I know you and I are both on the same page of like, no, Regina is his mother, and I'm sure other people may feel a little bit differently. I don't know. But at least you're the one person that I talk about with this, because I don't talk to anybody about this. No one else knows. I think I mentioned at a family gathering about, oh yeah, I gotta go home and watch Once Upon a Time. And I think it was my sister's like, what is that? I'm like, you know what this is? Because she's talked about it before, but she's never watched it all. And I'm like, well, I'm watching all of it and talking about it by choice. But yeah, and then of course I have the whole Regina, darkened heart. Oh my God. Regina got what she wanted. And then just all caps, holy shit, that is an ending.
Yeah.
Like, just.
To be fair, the foreshadowing that Greg is Owen was there from the opening scene. It was there from the opening scene of this episode.
Was it? Where?
In the foreshadowing, because what was Greg's ringtone?
I don't know.
It was a Star Wars theme. It was one of them. It was either the Imperial March or it was some other kind of Star Wars theme. In the opening scene, as soon as he's done making his lanyard, Owen says like Luke and Darth Vader's lightsabers.
Damn. See, I don't pick up on stuff like this.
There's also like other things like apparently like it's hard to see, but they say in the commentary he had a Return of the Jedi sleeping bag and stuff like that. Like they put in a lot of these little details the entire time.
But we're supposed to go off of it's Star Wars, not thinking that so many people love Star Wars. That kills me. It's
1983, so yeah, it's going to be a kid obsessed with Star Wars, and to be fair, as this was airing, so this episode aired in March. That was In the Name of the Brother was that episode. So that one aired. So for airing wise, that one aired in January. So we are like almost 3 months past. People are going to forget these small details between 3 months.
That's true.
So like it's foreshadowing in hindsight.
In hindsight, yeah. But yeah, that's all my notes. And holy crap. Yeah. If any other episode hadn't convinced me to like be obsessed with this show, this one definitely did it.
This is a good episode because this was our first week of the curse, which they had really been planning on. They had been talking about doing since the beginning of the first season.
Good execution.
They waited for the right story. They waited for the right time, and they were able to kind of kill like two birds with one stone of the first week of the curse, as well as Proto Henry with including Greg / Owen. As that kind of Regina realizing what could fill that hole in her heart.
Never gonna get over Proto Henry.
It's a cool that's word for word what they called him.
Oh God, I thought you came up with that.
No, that's not me. That's what the writers called that concept was Proto Henry.
I mean, you are that clever. Don't talk down on yourself. Okay, you are that clever.
Thank you. But that was it. Yeah. So Proto Henry, not mine. I give complete credit to Ian Goldberg and Andrew Chambliss. They were the two writers on this episode. They also did the commentary on this one. Unfortunately, this was I realized this felt close for 2 commentary episodes because the last one was Manhattan.
It was only 4 episodes ago.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like they're usually a little further apart because if you're with the first couple, it was episode 1 and there was episode 9. And now we'll have commentary because they do usually for the first few seasons, they do 1 per DVD. Mm-hmm. So just sometimes it works out if it's not the first and the last, then they kind of get closer together. Our last one, the very last part of the finale is commentary, I believe, with the director and Colin, I think, which will be fun to listen to with his Irish accent.
I would love to hear that. Oh my goodness. And then I get to do the blooper reel for season 2.
We had the blooper reel. It'll be a good time.
I can't wait.
I'm so excited. We'll figure out how to record you watching that.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good time. But this episode has some fun facts as well as a lot of the commentary stuff, and I'll include some more of my own unhinged notes because this is me, and Chaos Notes are what I do. But what I said before about the newspaper being relevant, which the title of the newspaper read, Reagan Marines will be staying in Beirut, which is adapted from an old Wikipedia article on the 1983 Beirut barracks bombings, which occurred early in the morning on October 23rd, 1983, which is the day that this is set because it's been confirmed that Emma's birthday is October 22nd, which is the day of the pilot that aired. But that's her birthday since this is the next day because time works between when she was sent and other times. It is October 23rd, 1983. So that's exactly where we are for this episode, which I think it's a small but relevant detail.
Yeah.
Which I think is important. Cora's funeral scene with Regina and Gold was originally supposed to be filmed outside in the cemetery, but apparently they ran out of time when it came to shooting on location. They already had too much with stuff at the town line and stuff in the middle of Steveston. They had and stuff at the well. They had too much on location scheduled already, so they just moved it to the inside of the vault. And they're it's only 2 people. It feels more intimate. The scene feels a little more heightened this way. So it worked out.
Keeping her, but also putting putting Cora in Regina's place, where she holds so many valuable items, makes a lot of sense at the same time.
Yep, she keeps her close, which I think isn't it's important for her character as well. She keeps her very, very close. Mm-hmm. But throughout the entire episode, my own chaos notes are just Regina needs better coping skills.
Just maybe she does need to go back to seeing Dr. Hopper, even though he's not a real therapist. He can maybe help a little. It's better to have something instead of nothing.
It is. It's better to have some therapy instead of nothing. And to be fair, she does almost call him a cricket at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah.
She'll do that again later. She'll be talking to him actually. And she'll start saying something and she'll start saying, "I'm the queen." But she stops herself and goes, "I'm the mayor." I'm like, "Ma'am, you've been doing this for 18 years.
How are we still
messing this up?" Although, to be fair, how her memory, how her memories, I guess, of this world come into play is never explained because she's not cursed, but she still has enough of a memory of what happens in this town of what her life should be.
Yeah. So, it's where's the knowledge of this modern city you've moved into compared to Fantasyland?
I don't know, but
there's she had electricity and running water.
Penicillin. But she had her priorities straight, check her hair, go to the window closet. I mean, it's a gorgeous closet, but she had her priorities straight of hair first.
Oh, gotta check the hair. No, that's valid. After some of the wigs I've seen on this show, that's valid.
There's a meme that I'll see if I can find. Okay. It would be impossible to search for, but it was screen grabs of the very last scene of Regina taking Snow's heart. But it's with for whatever reason, I remember the caption of Snow going "You even took my long hair," and then you just Regina floating over going "I took everything you love."
At least the wigs got better over time. The long hair got better.
The wigs do get better over time. I will give it that, but it's just the short hair it's good. It's very modern. It's and like again with like the timeless kind of clothing, everyone's clothing except for Ruby's, weirdly enough, is still kind of like 1960s coded. Like the more I watch this, the more I see that. Except for Ruby, who was very 1980s coded.
Which kind of kills me though, because I've been very slowly watching like Why Women Kill, and I loved watching Mona Lisa Smile, which Jennifer Goodwin in both is her, right? Yeah, that's her. In both, like, she embraces the 1950s style and like stature in such a beautiful way. Like, I would not like shame her whatsoever if she dressed like that like all the time. Because everything, I think her face is just made for that era.
I think so. She does call herself an old lady, so I think there's maybe like an old soul kind of situation going on there, like where she's kind of something internally or something, like kind of remembers that time period, because she does like she does period work very well, and she was on a show called Pivoting, I think was the name of the show.
I don't think I've heard of that one.
It was a recent show. It only lasted for one season. But her character, part of it was like her character was getting back into shape, and something about that. And she's like, "This is the most comfortable I've been in years." She's like in like leggings and sweatshirts the entire time.
Oh man, no, I could see that, because like while she looks amazing in 1950s dress, I don't think anybody wants to wear that 24/7.
No, I don't think so. So, but she like, well, at least like the Storybrooke stuff it's 60s coded. It's at least pants and like blouses, and she'll wear this one blue sweater for like a good chunk of the season. Like I think we'll still see her, because she wore this earlier in the season. I'm fairly certain it's the same sweater from the family tree. Is basically a wreath scene from Manhattan. And then we're gonna see her wear it again in the first part of the finale, I believe. I'm like, she really likes the sweater, apparently. Like it looks comfy.
It does. I love a good sweater. I'm only like, the only reason you don't see me in a sweater right now is because it's 90 degrees outside.
Yeah. No, that is fair. But Regina walking down Main Street for the first time, I wrote down, Regina, there is no heterosexual reason for you to smile as you walk past Ruby.
No, none whatsoever.
There's none. But she's enjoying herself a little too much. I'm like, you put her in hot pants. Like, I'm sorry, in winter.
I mean, those outfits though.
I'm not complaining, but like it furthers my Red Queen thing of like, there had to have been a reason.
I'm still sticking to Red Beauty for the rest of like my existence, probably forever, because maybe I just need to write that myself at this point. You're better at that though.
I've written Red Beauty into larger, not Red Beauty. I've written Red Queen into larger fics, but I've never written one specifically for them.
Ooh, that'd be interesting.
Like I've done ones where like the main couple is usually Swan Queen, but Red Queen does come up sometimes. Like this, it's like temporary for a couple of chapters. Sometimes that does involve also Red Swan Queen.
I think you just broke my brain.
That's a ship that, like, again, it's like, that one surprisingly wasn't that popular in the mainstream shipper fandom. Like, it was mostly like me and my friends happen. A lot of the triad ones, unsurprisingly, were not super popular. Weirdly enough, even though I think that would have solved a lot of problems.
Fair. I mean, monogamy is definitely on the more popular,
I guess, but like
in society.
It's fan fiction. Who cares? And like, this is my thing of like, why have love triangle when you can have polyamory?
See, that's my problem. I've been like that since I was young. Learning that more of my adult self, that was actually a thing, was always funny, because I hated reading books. I was like, oh my God, this person is in love with like two men, but she can't choose one. I'm like, why do you have to choose? Like, if it's consenting.
¿Por qué no los dos?
Exactly.
So good. So I don't know if you caught this, but the scene where Regina, at the very beginning, when she goes to see Mary Margaret under the curse at the school, she is wearing the cross again.
Yes,
because that's continuity with the pilot.
Ooh, continuity.
But the reason why the lighting looks a little off, and also why apparently they used the pilot shot originally, because use the shots you already have if you don't need to do a new one. It's just very strategic editing. The school actually wasn't available for them to film in for this.
Oh.
So they reused the footage from the pilot for that opening scene, just to kind of, it also furthers the Groundhog Day-y kind of thing of Snow's giving the same lesson over and over and over again for decades. Which, to be fair, that sometimes is just how education is. But It cuts to, as soon as Regina walks in, it cuts to the new footage right before Emma obviously walks into that scene from the pilot. And then we all we see is the two of them from close-ups. Basically, production just created these two walls that were meant to mirror the chalkboard and that wall with the cabinets. And honestly, until I heard them say that in the commentary, I just thought the lighting was weird and they had a hard time matching it. It didn't occur to me that it was a completely different set.
That's interesting because, like, honestly, I would have never realized that it's cut from the pilot because the way they edit, I guess in editing, like they just made it look so seamless that that, and it's been a bit since I've seen the pilot. I don't think I remembered that scene as much.
It's been almost a year, yeah.
Yeah, oh my god, it's been almost a year.
Mm-hmm. We're like a month shy of doing this for a year.
Time flies.
Right?
Wow.
This is episode 75, I think.
Yeah. I think it is. Yeah, because I just edited 74.
Mm-hmm.
My god, 75 tonight. We're going to hit 76 as of tonight. That's God, when do we hit 100?
We hit 100. I did this math recently. We hit 100, I believe, while recording in September.
That's gonna be fun.
Yeah, because I was counting to figure out which episode is the one that I'm going to be doing entirely in a British accent. So I believe. So that's episode 109, if my math is correct.
Okay.
I might be off, like plus or minus like 5 episodes, or maybe plus or minus 3, but yeah. So 100, I think we're gonna record that sometime in September, which means people will hear it probably in about November, December.
Not bad.
Not at all.
We're doing well.
I think so. I forgot how heavy Kurt's New Jersey accent is, though.
Oh, is it?
It's pretty heavy, especially when he says "home of the boss." Like, that was thrown in there for Adam Horowitz, one of the showrunners. He's from New Jersey.
Okay.
But I'm like, as soon as he says that, I'm like, yep, yeah, you are from New Jersey.
Do people really say that from New Jersey?
Not currently anymore, but like people.
Oh, okay.
People of his generation do. People that like really grew up with Bruce Springsteen, like you kind of had to have been like in like that era to say that as often. But I've definitely heard people in my life say that. Yeah, the boss is Bruce Springsteen. For anyone that didn't know that,
I was like on Regina's level of understanding when he said that. I was like, "Is this a thing? What is this? Like, what?" Could you tell I'm Southern? I've never been to New Jersey.
But there's something just that's so bizarre about Regina going, like, saying to them, like, I get you home sooner to New Jersey. I'm like, there's something weird about her saying the words New Jersey.
It is really weird.
It's so weird. But his accent, I think it gets a little less heavy. And they say in the commentary, like, but originally, what was in the opening scene, they were going to have Kurt do a Yoda impression. They cut it out, but apparently he got it partially because like he like knocked that out of the park.
Oh man!
Apparently, so our actor who played Kurt Flynn did a phenomenal job with a Yoda impression that we unfortunately will never get to see.
It's got to be somewhere in this world,
somewhere in the Disney archives.
Oh, we'll never get that. Never mind.
No, it's never
you can't open
released.
That.
No, definitely not.
They're gonna hold on to it, but we're never gonna get it.
Oh, absolutely. Now, throughout the entire episode, Henry is very much the voice of reason, I would say.
Yeah, it's funny when a 10-year-old is the voice of reason.
Like, and that's the thing, like you said, like Regina does love Henry, and Henry does love Regina, because what he says to them is like, stop, listen to yourselves. You're talking about killing my mom. You used to be heroes. What happened to you? Mm-hmm. Like, he has faith in her that he can, he thinks he can get rid of magic, but he has, like, especially the scene at the well, he has faith that Regina won't hurt him when he steps between a gun and a fireball. He has faith that both parties will not hurt him. Yep. And then even when Emma still tries to paint Regina as the villain in that scenario, she holds her hand out for Henry and he returns back to Regina with the fireball being like, please, this is tearing my family apart. Help me.
Because he wants everybody.
He wants everyone to be happy. And she's like, I can't stop magic. It's here, but I can do this. And she sets the curse on fire. She
destroys it,
burns it. I can make words tonight, but
it's not like we do this every week.
No, not at all. But she's just like Henry's logic of let's destroy magic continues throughout the series. He kind of never learns his lesson that you can't just blow up magic. Mm-hmm. He keeps trying to find ways to do it, and he's he's entirely unsuccessful the entire time. But I have this thing with Regina and children, and I kind of, as like not just like Regina, but Lana with children.
Yes.
Because
I was say Regina with children is a bit of a red flag.
It's just a little bit, but because there is some backstory that we'll see in season 4 as to why Regina never had a child. Because to be fair, this has always been my analysis of the situation. Leopold married a young woman because he wanted more heirs.
Yeah,
that's generally what you would expect out of that type of dynamic. And it doesn't happen for whatever reason while they're married, and we'll see a little bit of a justification as to why it didn't happen after the fact. Because I think something Owen says to her, he asks her, why aren't you a mom yet? Or why aren't you a mom? And she says it just didn't work out that way. We'll see exactly kind of how that works. It's something I wrote down. I'm like, Gold has a soft spot for Henry because of Bay. Or Gold has a soft spot for children because of Bay. Regina has a soft spot for children because of Lana. Lana has always had a soft spot for everyone's children. Like watching her with kids and with kid fans is the sweetest thing. It's like all of the photos I used to see of like young fans, and like at the season 2 San Diego Comic-Con thing, like she could, like, not that it was funny, but when they asked her like, do kids run from you because they're scared of you, she goes like, children do run from me actually. It's like she's the evil queen, like, but she truthfully is like watching her with kids is the sweetest thing. Her with Jared, like watching, like, helping raise him, like she was a parental figure in his life for 7 years at the end of the show.
When I see any actor or actress that is really good with kids, not in a creepy way, but like just good with kids, you can tell they've got to be at least somewhat of a good person. And then also actors that have good boundaries with children.
Yes.
My only example I have for that is Henry Cavill flat out told, what was it, Millie Bobby Brown? We don't talk about our personal lives. This is work. This is where we do this. That's it. He was like, nothing inappropriate whatsoever. And I love that about him.
Yeah. Sometimes you need that because
yeah. No, you're good. I mean, but that's definitely a green flag. It's like when you're a grown adult, yes, you are perfectly fine to have some form of relationship with your co-stars if they are children, but that there has to be a limit with that. And we don't see that often enough because it can get a little weird sometimes.
No, definitely. And like Lana with Jared, like apparently he would like sometimes like spend the night at her house. Just my guess is because he had a sister. So my guess is his parents probably could, like, he needs a guardian on set all the time, but if something happens with the sister, they need to go home, or like maybe he has an early call time. It just makes sense. Like he did like spend time with Lana off set, and that makes a difference, especially for the dynamic and for the relationship as well.
Especially if the parents are like okay with it. Yeah, the parents also trust the adult. Like,
yeah, I'll try and find when we get to it. For season 3, there was some behind the scenes shots of Lana and Jared and his mom. Just like behind the scenes, just like cuddling for warmth because it was a cold day.
That is so sweet.
So, and his mom is also very short. He was like the same height as her. At that point, he was only like 12 or 13.
Oh, to hug Lana at my height.
Lana's about my height, if not an inch taller. Jared's mom is pretty short.
Wait. So like hugging Lana would be like me hugging you. That'd be
pretty
funny.
Much, yeah, about the same height.
One day
we'll figure that out.
One day.
Someday. I've done that. Those are surprisingly still just my notes. I'll not get too heavy with the commentary notes.
Oh, but wow. Okay.
There's a lot. I've woven in some, but there's a lot. And I make sure to, as per usual, if you want to read the full length of any of either of our notes, join our Patreon. Yeah. That is, the patrons get access to our spreadsheets with all of our commentary notes and all of our chaos notes and all of it. And when I say for the commentary, I write down everything they say. I'm really not kidding. I write down everything they say. I pull out the pertinent things.
We should really be telling more people that our Patreon doesn't just have the book club, though. Like, you get access to everything we write, everything we do.
Not the scripts. They get access to the
scripts,
notes.
But the notes. That's more so what I meant. Our ratings.
Yeah, all the ratings, all the notes.
What else do we have on here?
We do a monthly Patreon exclusive coffee chat where the patrons get to ask us questions, or we just talk about whatever it is that we are doing. We also are getting back into our semi-regular newsletter. We'll probably start doing that about every month or so. So it is the book club, but also you get extra behind-the-scenes content.
Do they get the timeline?
Yes, they get the timeline.
Okay.
And I was contemplating, I think as an incentive, the blooper video should probably be Patreon exclusive.
I think the blooper video will be Patreon exclusive, only because I don't think too many people should see me reacting in insane ways to bloopers.
It's very entertaining. I listened to the episode that came out today, and it started with that. This was one of the episodes where Lauren watched me while I watched it, and it was while I was eating lunch that time. It's like it was duck.
We do that sometimes.
It was duck. It was delicious.
I remember the duck.
It was good duck.
Oh my god,
it was very good. So I did mention before, obviously, that Home of the Boss was put in there for Adam. Eddie had a lot of inclusion of the costumes. So Owen's hat being like kind of like Elliot from E.T. And Kurt's vest being very Back to the Future-y were specifically requested by Eddie. Because a lot of the like them and Ian and Andrew, they're all like 80s kids. Mm-hmm. So like this is them pulling stuff from their childhood. So that's why it's a lot of the Star Wars, and like, there's the Tron. Like,
that's fun.
Their last name being Flynn. That's a Tron reference and stuff like that.
That is a Tron reference. Damn.
Mm-hmm. And they're saying Kurt is most likely an homage. I think they couldn't remember who came up with the name Kurt because his name changed a couple times, but it's most likely an homage to Kurt Russell.
I was about to say, that's got to be Kurt Russell. He did a lot in the 80s.
He did.
Just funny because I think the 80s is like my least liked decade when it comes to things.
Yeah, it's like I like the original Back to the Future. I like some like the 80s like rom-com movies. That's basically
I'm a 90s girl.
Yeah.
Which is only sad. I would have gotten more of the 90s if I was born in the 80s.
Mm. That's true. They had a lot of fun with the flashback montage because like there's only so much they can write because it's a scene without any dialogue, or it's a sequence without any dialogue. You just have to trust that Lana's portrayal and her performance will show the gradual dissatisfaction of the curse through her face, because like one day to the next she's smiling, like she's like, nope, now I'm bored with this. Like this is just, it's a bit much. But they said, things are bad when you're tired of waking up next to Jamie Dornan.
Oh, goodness. But, like, when it comes to those emotions, if anyone can do it, it's Lana.
Yes, absolutely.
She's so amazing at that.
She's so good with, like, the small details of her face. Mm-hmm. And, like, just, like, like I say, she acts with every muscle in her body. And you see that in all of her performances. Although I will ask you, how did you feel about them having an actual payphone on the show?
I felt like I was definitely transported in time. I have not seen a payphone in a hot minute. I've used payphones. I remember when they were very common. I remember checking payphones for change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
God, I'm old. God. Does anybody remember when your phone actually had a cord on it? It like hung on the wall and that's all you had?
Mm-hmm. I remember like the payphone, like the cards you had to use.
Oh, I forgot about the cards. We always just change.
Cards.
I forgot about phone cards.
My middle school still had payphones when I was there, and they were still usable.
Really?
Yes, I'm not aging myself. You know how old I am. But, they were still usable back then.
That's actually not a bad idea, though, for kids.
Yeah, for middle schoolers, especially.
Get rid of it. Yeah.
They don't need their phones on them all the time.
Look, from everything we've seen with schools, there's kids that just straight up have laptops all day long in class. So who knows how schools are going right now.
Yeah. But apparently the Curse of the Empty-Hearted it took them a while. They said a good couple of hours to come up with that name because they were trying to find and it is a workaround of the usual, the fundamental laws of magic. You can't make someone fall in love with you, but it's a workaround in that it makes people think that they love you, much like the Curse makes everyone think they're afraid of Regina and just because they have to, they act scared of her because they have to.
Yeah.
But apparently the name of the Curse of the Empty-Hearted came up with a while because they had just written in it like the curse that like the arbitrary curse, and I'm like, this is very much emblematic of my own writer thing of like every time I can't think of something I just do TK and then you write with like name of something.
Oh, that's okay. I do that too though because like the chef bartender story I'm writing, they don't have names yet, but I had an idea for a scene that I wanted to get down before it escaped my brain. It's just chef and bartender in place of name. Like it works.
That works.
That works. They'll have names eventually.
Exactly. The story that I was working on years ago, that was like a romantic suspense idea I've talked about before. Mm-hmm. I didn't have names for the characters for a while, but I had plot ideas. I had like scenes in my head. So I just wrote them down as A and B. I didn't even bother giving them which to be fair, turned into B actually being that character's nickname.
Oh, I love that though. That's so funny.
It became a thing of it shows the distance between the characters that she's still using this nickname and she only uses her full name in this one act of peril. And I'm like, okay, I thought I was clever.
You were clever. Stop. If I could come to New York and slap you, I would, but I can't.
Thank you.
With love. Slap of love. See, I'm a little bit of each Bob's Burgers character. There's the Louise.
It's the slap of love.
The slap of love.
That's a story that I continually put on the back burner. I do not let go of it because I put a lot of work into it then.
Yeah.
I will get back to it eventually when I think I have, and this is not a dig at myself, I just don't think I have the skills yet to write that type of story. I think that's fine. A fair assessment of my skill set. I will get there one day after I publish other stuff.
And that's about to happen, so.
Yes. Someday, yes. Well, by the time this comes out in August, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, this comes out August 19th. So yeah, so by here, only one of the anthologies will be out. By now, my Across the Abyss story will be out in the Remnants of Summer anthology.
So when people are listening to this, you will be a published author.
I will be a published author by the time people... That's weird. Contains to be weird. But so something that apparently got pointed out, I did a little bit of extra looking into this. The lasagna mentions on the show, 'cause I love that Regina's lasagna was bad in this one, and like that implies that she learned to cook during the curse, because everyone needs a hobby.
She was bored.
What else was she doing?
There's these new contraptions. What can I make with it? Like, this is a different type of oven. What do I do in this?
Exactly. Well, she's never had to cook for herself before, to be fair.
Yeah.
So everyone needs a hobby. But they did apologize. They're like, we think we're like the reason why lasagna has been mentioned so often in the show. And to be fair, they are right. I did the checking. My first recollection of lasagna being mentioned is in the scene where Regina tries to seduce David from 120. That's written by these two writers. And then again in 207, when Ruby mentions all the frozen lasagnas in Granny's freezer, that is also written by these two. The only other time that I could think of lasagna being mentioned was in 210 when she brings it to like the welcome back party. That was not written by them. That was written by David Goodman and Robert Hull. So
they just kept to the trend, like
exactly. They kept to the trend of Regina likes to cook.
It's just the Garfield of the show.
Exactly.
They're big fans of Garfield. Let's just go with that.
Sure. Also, it's an easy thing to make. I mean, it can be complicated if you want to make it complicated, but I feel like lasagna is also fairly on the easy side.
It's a layered casserole.
Exactly. Another thing that they did apologize for was that they wrote Child of the Moon. They're the writers that killed off Billy the Mechanic.
Oh, come on.
So they apologized for it, but they brought him back.
For a second.
For a second, although there was a header to that scene apparently when Regina walks up where he was showing Ruby a Camaro, which again is implying that that's how Ruby gets her car. Again, meaning that like it's not, again, it's working in that thing of like everything isn't exactly the same. It's
like
deja vu.
A slight Groundhog's Day. Things change.
Yeah. And
you have memories. You just don't realize you're stuck.
Exactly. The scene that we mentioned before with Greg and Henry on the trail. I mean, that's the two children Regina tried to keep at the same time. That's like you're seeing, although the viewers, although the viewers don't know it yet, that's a case of like this Owen and Henry, even though we don't know yet that he's Owen, coming together. And Greg kind of sees face to face the replacement and what his life could have been in this kid, basically, if he had stayed. In a way.
True.
But I do appreciate, because that phone call to Regina, it's the first time he's spoken to her in 30 years.
Yeah.
And we'll see him come face to face with her in the next episode, I believe. But
I'm okay with this.
I appreciate this about the writing, is the fact that the phone number on the bag is Regina's. No one's changed that on his bag. His contact information is still Regina because she's still his mother.
It kills me because that's like the tiny details that a mother notices. In all honesty, that is a tiny detail a mother would notice. And this isn't me making a stab at Emma, but Emma's still so new at being a mom.
Yeah.
Like, that's something that kind of comes with, like, once you've been through a lot of the motherhood stuff, you go, let me make sure everything is correct in case something happens.
Exactly.
Done that myself. Like,
but that is just unfortunately, not unfortunately, but I liked that detail of that's still her number.
Yeah.
They had that, just like, to be fair, Emma hasn't really been around long enough to notice that it's not her number. It's not their information yet.
Probably doesn't even realize that's on the backpack at this point.
Most likely. Although, to be fair, when Henry does walk away with them at the end, the backpack is just gone.
Oh, goodness.
No one picked it up. I did notice that. But I have some more fun facts from commentary, but before we keep going, what was your score for this episode?
What do you think it was?
Was this a 30?
This is a 30.
Very nice.
It was really great because I go into these episodes because I never know what I'm going to get. Ever since Eggs happened, I never know what the hell is going to come onto this screen. And I even was texting Lauren during this, and it was this lovely moment of I usually sit at the computer and watch my shows and take my notes. I bought a new keyboard for my iPad so I can do things not always sitting at my computer, especially for health reasons too, because the computer chair is not fun with issues. And I got to actually watch this one on my like nice big 65-inch TV, or I think so, my 70. One of the bigger of my 2 TVs that we have in this house. And I have to say, it was a whole new experience. And so that might add to the score. I need to start doing that to get more of an experience out of it, I think.
Yeah.
But I loved seeing the first week of Storybrooke. Like I've been waiting for this. I was really excited to get to that point of like getting to see how the curse worked when they first got there. Because we've talked about it, but I never got to see it till now.
Yeah.
And I was just rooting for Regina the whole time. Except for when she's trying to take the kid that's like not legally adopted. Like, let's not take Owen.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, what happened to his dad? I want to know.
You will find out what happens to Kurt, I believe, in the next episode. You'll find out what happened.
Okay, good. I'm assuming he's dead.
If it's not the next episode, then it's in the finale. It's
yeah, but that's okay because I get Lacey in between waiting and all that. It's a good distraction.
You do get Lacey. You'll get to see Lacey, and then I think the Evil Queen episode is, quite frankly, is a very compelling episode to watch. I mean, I think with the exception of next week we're going to see, at least for me, we're going to see a dip in my score because next week I kind of it's a weird episode.
Joy, love hearing that.
You love hearing that from me. I was like, that's a weird episode. When I say something is weird with the episode, that means something is weird, but. There's so much good. I would say after 218, I have nothing but high scores throughout the rest of the season.
That's not surprising.
Which is because we have Lacey, we have the Evil Queen, and then after that it's Second Star of the Right and Trail until morning, and it's a good finale. It's unfortunate that it was aired a week apart. Like they considered it a 2-part finale, but they aired on different weekends.
Why?
After that, they stopped doing that. After that, they call them 2-part finales, and they do air at the same time at least.
Okay, because that just sucks as a fan.
And a couple of them are part 1 and part 2. But ironically, when it comes to the first part of the finale, I have a story time.
Oh, fun.
Also with that, you get to watch the coveted Lana doing the commercial for New Fantasyland for Disneyland. Commercial.
Oh my god.
It's such a good commercial. And there's a behind the scenes video too.
So lots to watch.
Lots to watch for that. So I gave this a 10 for plot, a 10 for personal, and a 9 for character. We say this a lot. It's not, unfortunately, not 330s in a row. I wanted it to be.
Wow, I thought it was.
29 is we say this a lot. The 29 is a hard score to give.
Which I had one last week.
You had one last week, exactly. I wanted to give this one a 30 because for as much as I enjoy this and I loved the commentary on this one, and again, I won't disagree that Regina in this episode, they made all the right choices.
Yeah.
She's got to have more people skills than this. I refuse to believe she has this little of people skills of, why don't you just move here?
Yeah, like, she really could have asked, like, I can set you up here. You guys would have a great life here. Like, no. She goes, I'm going to kidnap the child.
Well, she started with the, if you move here, I can get you a job at the city. There's a great school. She started there. But it's the thing of, like, these strangers will solve all my problems. And then following into, I'm going to unfairly arrest your father and kidnap the son. Like I refuse to believe any human being has that little people skills unless they've literally lived under a rock. And to be fair, she's lived in the lap of luxury as the queen, but still I'm like, there's just I had to knock it down 1 character point, so it does have a 29, unfortunately.
God, it being on Lana though is crazy.
Not on Lana, but on Regina, and it's on the writing again. I'm like, it's just like I want her to have better people skills. Like, every time I watch this, I'm just like, honey, no. Oh, no, Gina. I write Gina in all of my notes because it's faster. Like, Gina, no, you can't do that. Gina, no, can't kidnap the boy. That's not how that works.
You can't just pick and choose which one you want. It's not like a litter of puppies.
No, it's not. I did write down 2 things for the car chase. Regina's hair flip. I always go, maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's Maybelline.
Oh my god.
But then I also wrote, I love the car chase scene. And they did say in the commentary that they wanted this one to feel very cinematic. They told the director that they wanted almost like a Spielbergian kind of feel for this episode.
Oh, they did great.
And they gave Dave Barrett like so many props for how he handled a lot of this episode. But for the car chase, I just go, car chase. We're going to have a car chase.
I don't remember. Wasn't that a 30 for you as well? That episode of Bob's? I think that was a 30 for you.
Let me check.
Work Hard or Die Trying, Girl? Because the music theater?
No, it was a 26.
26. Okay, but still that was still a high score. I just remember you really enjoying that one, but like that's now multiple times that lines from that stupid little like Die Hard musical have come into play.
Mm-hmm. Something that the writers really wanted to put in here all the time was they put in a lot of Hall & Oates references apparently whenever they can.
Oh,
weirdly enough, because again, they're kids of the 80s. They really they put in as many references as they possibly could. There is I think they wanted a Hall & Oates song to be playing when Graham pulls up originally. I don't think it is. I don't remember what's playing on the radio, but they just couldn't find one that came out in 1983 that was out by 1983 that they liked. I think the only option would have been Maneater, and that doesn't really fit Storybrooke.
No, Maneater doesn't work for that.
No, but there was apparently a shot that got taken out where his glove box is just filled with Hall & Oates tapes.
Not surprised.
Which is it's a good way to get your Easter egg in there, but we never saw it, apparently. Unfortunately.
They tried.
They did try. The last thing that they said a lot about this was Regina may not learn from her mistakes, but this is the unexpected surprise that it harkens back to Heart of Darkness. That's when Snow was going to assassinate Regina because David's like, I wouldn't let you darken your heart. I want you to do something malicious. And it's just, and now in the real world, Snow will have a dark heart because her actions have consequences, and she has to learn that her actions have consequences.
Which is so weird because there's nuance to that, but magic doesn't usually take well to nuance.
Yeah, and this is a thing of people have asked me a lot about the dark hearts, oh, wouldn't this person have a dark heart because they did this, or this person? I'm like, first let's go with, were there any other options? Was it in direct self-defense? And those are my two things. It's were there any other options, and was it in a direct self-defense of themselves or someone close to them? Because a lot of the options people ask about are David, a lot of other instances of him, and why he doesn't have a dark heart. And I'm like, a lot of the times that, because he has a pretty high body count for named character deaths, for people that he kills. I've done the math. He has, I think of any hero, he has the highest body count of named character deaths. But almost all of them are in direct self-defense where there were no other options. There were other options here.
There was?
With Cora, I mean, they could have not killed Cora. They could, honestly, using her heart to tell her not to is an option.
Oh, that is an option.
Snow's thing, while it is very, idealistic of, I could just use her heart and make her not kill you, and then she'll be a good person. It's very idealistic, but it is a plausible option since she had her heart in her hands.
Valid.
So there are other options. There are other paths that aren't murder.
Yeah, murder's more fun.
Murder's more fun. Last thing, the writers, they also really enjoyed writing the "now get off my porch" line.
Oh, it's perfect. That is the best thing to end on.
It's a great mic drop line. It's now get off my porch. After she's laughing at her, while she's doing this, but all I can see is, from knowing how they have to film those heart rip scenes, all I can see is basically Ginny having to scream in agony while Lana basically grabs her boob.
Basically.
I'm sure she just grabs a fistful of the sweater or whatever, but it's a case of it's just imagining filming that.
But there's so much force behind it too. The way they do it is so funny because the two are working together to make it look like it's more impact. Yeah. She's not actually punching her in the titty, Yeah. But it's just so funny because I'm sitting there thinking about that when I was watching it. And I'm like, how did they figure out this mechanism? I'm sure they worked with somebody what's the best way of doing this so it looks real? Because it looks real. She looks like she's just getting punched straight in the chest.
Pretty much.
But they did a great job with that.
Yeah, my guess is probably their stunt coordinator is probably whoever's figured out, or whatever choreographer they have to figure out what they do that. Because depending on the angle they're filming at, because most often when you see it, you never see it head on. There's only one time where we actually do see it head on, and that was when Cora tries to take Emma's heart in 209. I don't know how they filmed that with. I don't know how they filmed that with Cora having to pull back and Emma jerking at the same time. I don't know how they did that, but it's there's one where like the actors did say how they did it. It wasn't a heart rip situation. It was Maleficent and Ursula in a fight scene. And Ursula, we're gonna see that in season 4. And Ursula
has just drop that, like, that's amazing.
It's gonna be great. That's gonna be probably like next March. If I'm timing it out with like how long it takes to get through things, it's like very middle of season 4. But it's Ursula has her tentacles wrapped around Maleficent's staff. And they were trying to figure out the movement of it and how it would work. Ultimately, what they ended up doing was they just tied like clear fishing line around her staff and like attached it to the actor who playing Ursula to her hips. That way they could get the motions correctly because they weren't timing it well. That's really
cool.
That's very smart.
Let's hope my squirrel brain assists you in this, because now all I'm going to think about is wanting to see this, and I can't.
Well, this is the thing of, like, I'm very excited to show you that season, because that's where I get a lot of behind the scenes. I've watched a lot of interviews of that arc, because Kristen Bauer, Maren Dungy, and Victoria Smurfett are just bonkers as all get out to watch when you put the three of them together in a room, and even more specifically, Victoria and Maren. When you put them together in a room, it's us.
I love that, though.
They're the ones that I'm like, they go so far on tangents, like, okay, back in the room. What was the question? I don't know what we're talking about anymore.
I'm not apologizing for that. Y'all get some really interesting things out of us with that, and it's usually food.
Yes, it is. So we'll be looking forward to that in about a year ish.
Damn it, Lauren.
We'll get there. I promise. I will make sure we get through season 4, because season 4, like, in hindsight, season 4 is truthfully my favorite season.
What do you mean make sure we get through it? I hope we make it to the end.
I would also like to make sure we get through the end of the show, but like at minimum, we're getting through season 4.
From what I'm gathering, season 7 is going to be like, we're going to trudge through the end, but we're going to get there.
We are going to be dragging ourselves by our fingernails by then.
With just the joy of like, what are we going to do next as we do it?
Yeah. And well, to be fair, season 7 has the canon sapphic couple.
Okay, that's enough. I'll be fine with that. That saves me at least a little bit.
They're adorable.
You had to wait till the last season?
Mm-hmm. No, there is a sapphic couple that is in a whopping 1 episode in season 5 that the writers, they thought they were doing something there. They really thought they were doing something, and they gave us this couple, and we're like, how about you give us time to appreciate the characters and understand their relationship and their chemistry, and not just have them meet and be true loves in the 1 episode.
Yeah, but like, that's kind of indicative of like all sapphic media.
Pretty much.
We're going to give you a little bit, and then we're going to pull it from you, and this is all you get.
What we're going to do is we are going to give it to you. We're going to put as little effort into it as possible. And then when you complain that it's not good representation, we're like, well, we tried.
Oh, it's so fun being sapphic.
It's great.
It's wonderful.
Happy Pride, everybody.
Right? As you listen to this in months away. It's June now.
It's June when we're recording this. Guess we'll hear this in August.
Look, Pride is all year. That's all I'm saying.
That's true. Pride is all year round. Watch and read queer media all year round, please.
I mean, I know we do.
Absolutely.
Thank you all for listening. Join us next time when we discuss Bob's Burgers Season 5, Episode 5, Best Burger, and Episode 6, Father of the Bob. Don't forget to like, rate, and follow the podcast wherever you listen so you can be notified every time we publish a new episode. Follow us at OBDYK_pod on Instagram and TikTok. And if you'd like to join our book club, you can find the link with more details in our show notes.
This has been an episode of Okay, But Did You Know? A TV and media podcast. It was hosted by Lauren and Katie and edited by Lauren.